I'm going to show you how I did the apple core basket weave pattern. I would love to see how other people did it if they approached it in a different way. So we're going to start with Design Sew Quilt. Start new. And yes, I'll replace it. And I can reset my time. Now the first thing you're going to need to be able to do this is an apple core block. So if you don't have one yet, you're going to need to create one. So I'm going to do that first, and I'm fine with the 10 by 10. Continue and finished, and I'm going to go to the geometric catalog, and I want the arc, and I've added extra stuff in mine, so I've got to scroll through to get it. Whoops, went beyond. Go, and the arc is 1/4 of a circle. I don't know why that didn't register for me originally, but it didn't. I'm going to move it up into one corner here. Let's zoom out. And then stretch. So I'm going to lock it with the side that's already on the square and drag the other side down. Finished. No, I can do everything from here. I'm going to copy this pattern, continue, and I can just flip Y and flip X, and I wouldn't have had to do both, but it gets my start and end points on opposite ends. And then I'm going to say finished, and then I'm going to copy this pattern again, continue, and this time I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. Really matter which one right now. And I'm going to hit my start and end points so that they switch and move. I'm going to pop it here, and it should be locked there as well. Finished. And then I'm going to copy this, flip X, and again I could flip Y so my start and end points are where I want them. Finished. And now I just need to combine that. So I'm going to go here, continue to the next one, continue, and just all the way around. Finished. Now, if I wanted to, I could save this as a pattern as well. I already have it as a pattern, so I'm just going to show you switching it to a block. So I'm going to say, get out of the Add Edit Pattern section of the program and go to the Add Edit block. And then I'm going to go Pattern to Block. I'm going to choose this one, continue. I'm finished. And at this point I would save it into my block catalog. So I would say save quilt pattern, save a block, would select this one, continue. I'm going to need to name it. So I'm just going to call it apple core. Enter. And I would put it in my geometric, but since I already have one there, I'll just put it in a different folder. And now it's there. So if I was starting this brand new and I already had the block in my catalog, I'll just show you what I would do. Yes, I want this one gone as well. Continue. Yes. So this is like just starting at the very beginning with a brand new quilt. I'm going to say block pattern, load a block from the catalog, and because I know I have one in the geometric, I'm just going to, well, let's just take the one I put in here. The apple core, continue, and now it's on my screen and I can scale it. Now if I was doing this as a pantograph, I would might want it bigger. I set it up originally as a fill, so I scaled it down pretty small. I'm okay with that. Zoom in. Okay, so now I just need to build up my lines. I'm going to say finished, and I'm going to go to the geometric catalog again, and I'm going to get that arc again. Continue. And I'm going to move it so it snaps in with one corner, and then I'm going to stretch it so it snaps in on the other corner. So I'm going to here and here. I'm actually going to swap my start and end points and say finished. No, I don't want to add another pattern. Now I'm going to repeat that pattern. Oh, this one, continue. And I want my Y repeats because that's going to be the vertical. My distance to be 1/4 of an inch between them. Enter. And Y repeats. I'm going to just stop there. You can make however many of those you want. Say finished. And now I need to combine the patterns. If I do combine patterns just normally, I'm going to pick the first pattern, then I'm going to pick the second one. I'm going to have to swap my start and end points. So I'm going to do a lazy trick. I'm going to say finished here. I'm going to say sew quilt. And I'm going to choose that first pattern up on the top, continue, and then I get my Panto sequencing assistance. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click alternate, and it doesn't really matter what I pick here because I'm not really going to sew it. So tie off, and I'm going to say done, and then I'm going to get back out of the sew quilt sequence. And now, and it's probably just as fast to do it the other way, but now my lines are all alternating the start and end point. So I'm going to choose the first one, continue, choose the second one, continue, continuous line. So all that going into sew did for me was let me skip this swap start and end points every other time. Continue, continuous line, continue, continuous line. And finished. Now I'm going to just copy that pattern, continue, I'm going to flip Y, I'm also going to flip X, so that puts my point down here on the bottom, finished. And then I'm going to add a straight line in the middle, so I'm going to say add pattern, block pattern, use the current block, and this time I just want my line. This one, continue. And I want it to be straight, so I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees. And I scaled it down. It's not really necessary, so that it's about the same width as those other curves. Okay, and finished. Now I'm ready to combine these three patterns. I'm going to say combine patterns. I'm going to choose the first one, continue. The second one, and the end is on this side. I believe I need to swap my start and end points. Yeah, continue, and then this one, and continue, and finished. So now I have my pattern, and I'm going to copy that so I don't have to keep creating it. And move it. Okay, so now I want to get this to the shape of the apple core, and the first time I did this, I added a block. I'll just show you because there's more than one way to do this. Copy the block, this one, continue, and I set it right there on top of it, and then I just made it a little bit bigger because if I do a clipping block the way I have it right now, it's going to clip off that top line. So I scaled that block up just so that it had that top line inside of it, and that worked. But I figured out another way today to do that that I think makes it cleaner. So I'm going to rotate that block by 90 degrees and move it and snap the corner into this one, finished. And I'm going to copy that block again, continue, move it over, snap it in there, finished. Okay, so if I had done the clipping block, it would have cut out just this center section. I'm doing it in 2 steps instead. So I'm going to say add block, and I'm going to do a no sew zone. I'm going to choose this one, continue, select an existing block on either side, it doesn't matter, continue. So that's taking out my curve on the one side, finished. Yep, I'm fine with that. And I want to have the transition be continuous, accept. Yes, and then I need to just repeat that on the other side. Add block, not clipping, I don't want clipping. No sew zone. Select this one, continue, select an existing block, this one, continue, and I'm finished, and accept. Yeah, so now I have this pattern, and I'm finished with the blocks. Add edit pattern, copy pattern. I'm going to move this one out of the way so that I have it and don't have to keep creating it, because I have several different things that I can do with that. So I'm going to say finished. I'm going to copy that pattern again, continue. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and move it snap it in down here. So if I do it this way, it's going to sew this, and then it's going to sew right up here over my end stitching again, and then create the pattern. And this is the easiest one because I don't have to come up with any connectors. So I'm going to say finished, and I'm going to combine those two patterns, continue, and this one, continue, and finished. And I could repeat it to check it, but I know it's going to work, so I'm not going to this time. So I'm going to say finished, save a pattern from the quilt, this one, continue, just say, I'm calling this one Apple Core Tight, enter, and I'm going to put it in the test catalog, and I think there's already one there, so it's going to pop up most likely and ask me if I want to replace it, but it didn't. Okay. So now to see that as a fill or a pantograph, I'm going to say added a block, add block, standard block, inner rectangle manually. Let's just do a 20-inch one. I'm going to move that so it's not sitting on there. Finished, finished, add edit pattern, add pattern, pantograph, use current block. Go up to the test. This is the one I just put in there, continue. This one again, continue. I want to offset it by 50%, and then I want to close my gap. Now if I was doing this as a panto, I wouldn't want it up tight. I would want a gap between it. So, and then let's change the row height to 6. So that's what it would look like if I go up tight. So I'm going to say finished and accept it, yes. Okay. So if I don't want it tight, there's a couple of options here. Let's zoom in. And I'm going to modify this pattern and just get it out of my way. And I just want to get this one back, so I'm going to select it, bring it down here, and just pop it back in there. So if I don't want that to have backtracking on that line, I have other options. So I can copy this pattern again, continue, rotate it 90 degrees. I'm going to move it. Now I could do this if I just go in right here. Actually, yeah, that'll work. Split pattern, zoom in right on this top corner and just take out that one line. Make sure it's the right pattern. So I'm going to split that, zoom out, and I'm going to delete just that one arc, continue, yes. And then I want to modify this pattern, continue. And I want that start point to be down here where this end point is, so I'm just going to say flip Y. So now they're connected. And then I would also need to go up and split out another spot. So if I zoom in, right here, I'm going to split that final arc. You just want to make sure you get right there on the corner. I'm zoomed in as far as I can go, so. And split and zoom out. And I'm going to delete this again. Continue, yes. Zoom out. And I'm going to combine this pattern, continue with this pattern, continue, finished. And I have my connector there, and I know that it's going to pop right up here and connect there. But if I want to test it, finished, I can repeat the patterns. Continue. This time it's the X repeat. Zoom out. And I can drag it. I can drag it better on the tablet than I can on the stick. So that looks pretty good right there. And it does connect properly, so I'm going to just back out of this. Yes. And now I need to save this pattern. Now, when I use this method, then my vertical and my horizontal apple cores are going to be the same. So I want to save that one, and that may not make any sense yet, but call it apple. Oops. I'll just call it test 2, and again, I might have that name already, I don't know. Nope. Okay, so let's test this one in a block. Zoom out. Add block, standard block, inner rectangle. Happy with that. And continue. I'm just going to move it over onto the side. Finished. Finished. Add pattern, pantograph pattern, use the current block, and apple core test. I'm going to do this one this time. Continue and continue, and I need to offset it again by 50%, and then close my gap. And this time there's no backtracking on this. And I like the look of my gap to be about the same as the spacing between the lines. So let's change the height. Try about 6 inches. And finished, and accept, and yes. So I can compare these two side by side. They are pretty much the same as far as spacing and everything. They just don't have the backtracking here on this one. I'm going to stop there with that one. You could set it up another way where you have connectors, but I think these look pretty good, and I hope that gives you an idea. So if I wanted to have the oval or anything else in there, I can just go in. When I put the oval in, I actually did it after I had split this out, so let me just show you that. After I had already done my shape, and I went in and I did added a pattern, a split pattern, and I want to get right there on the very corner of that, so I'm going to zoom in as far as I can, and split, and zoom and pan. come down here also on the straight line and split that out. Come on, over. It doesn't want to sit right on the corner. And that can be the real pain sometimes. Over. And it's easier to do with your stylus on your well, I'm not going to keep playing with it because I'm not going to save this one. I just want to show you in general how to do this. And then I'm going to finished, add pattern, block pattern. I'm going to select a block because I don't want it to be huge down there in those 20-inch ones. I'm going to go down to my geometric catalog and I'm going to go to the circle, the continuous circle, continue. I'm going to move it up here, and I want my start and end points to be on where I'm going to be replacing this line. So I'm going to go zoom in. I'm going to take that and pop it so that it connects there, and then I'll say stretch, and I locked it there, and pop that in. I'm going to update that so it doesn't move around. Now I'm going to change my width until I get an oval that I like. This way, because I matched it with that line, it's not going to go beyond where the apple core would have been. So I'm just changing my width now until I'm happy. Oh, that looks pretty good. Finished. No, I don't want to add another one. I do want to delete that straight line now. Continue, yes. And now I need to combine my patterns. This one, continue, to this one, continue, and this one, continue, and finish. And I would do the same thing over on the other. It would have been easier to do before I combined the two of them together, but that's how I added the oval.